All right, we're here again, and today I'm going to discuss my line of preference, my choice line, the best line on the planet, whatever you want to call it, the thing that gives me confidence when I'm out there throwing big baits. When I first got into big baits, there was some general kind of like lines that most anglers were using. They start out, and sure, they do the job for an introductory swimbait angler, but they're really shorting you in a lot of ways that you don't even realize till you have years of experience in the game. My progression, my evolution in this led me to trying Japanese lines like your Sun line, shooters, some American like triple fish, suffix, monos, the camo monos, a wide variety of lines until I finally settled on what I consider to be the best line on the market. It's just my opinion, but you can't go wrong with Seaguar AbrazX. For big bait applications, I think it is the best overall line. The stretch factor, the stealth factor, it just far exceeds any other line out there on the market that I've used. Now, maybe somebody's got some line over there that they've used that they have great experiences with, but for me, it's the Seaguar AbrazX. I use it in a 20 pound or a 17 pound and occasionally the 15 pound. And I only buy it in these large spools. That's the way to go. I know that it's a big upfront expense, but you're going to use the line, and I feel it lays on your spool much better. Now, since fluorocarbon is generally much more expensive than a lot of the other lines, to save myself a little bit of cash is I always put a braid backer on it. I fill up my spool a third of the way, a quarter of the way. Maybe I said those things backwards, but you get what I'm saying. I fill it up a decent amount, and then I tie a uni knot, whatever knot you prefer you can tie, as long as it lays relatively flat. Tie your fluoro to it, and then continue spooling up. In the long run, that'll save you lots of cash, especially because you should be changing out your line quite often. I mean, a general rule of thumb, I kind of wait till it starts getting chalky. I think I push it a little bit more than most guys, but as soon as I start feeling like that line's not flying off the spool, which Seaguar will become kind of chalky relatively quick in my opinion, that's when I decide I gotta switch it out. I should probably point it out, this is not going to be any sort of load bearing. Just fill the spool, that's all you're doing. Take up space so that when you put a braid backer on that spool, you're saving yourself some cash by not having to fill all the way down with fluorocarbon. I'm not gonna pretend I know all the scientific data on like why this line's better or not. I know from first-hand experience what line has continuously held up to the test it's put through. And I gotta go ahead and say this out there. I'm not sponsored by Seaguar any way, shape, or form. I get nothing. I buy all my spools. But it is a great, great line. I have experimented in the past with different lines. And I actually just experimented recently with trying the new Seaguar Tatsu, their high-end line. And I don't want to talk down on it, but I thought I had something for a moment because I was fishing it. I ended up landing a giant fish on it. Everything was going good. Cool, no worries. Next time I went out fishing, made a cast, was grinding a little bit of rock like I always do, get bit, line breaks. Okay, sure, just a fluke. Strip off some line, cut, retie, go to a different spot, reposition, make a cast, doing the retrieve, get bit, reel into that fish, feeling it kind of load up, set that hook, breaks again. That could be a coincidence, but my gut said it wasn't, so that line had to go. That's a hard pill to swallow. I just spent a couple $100 on line. I got it in two sizes. I got it in the 20 pound and the 17 pound. Now it just sits on the shelf collecting dust. Those are the things that you have to try in order to gain those little edges that we are all looking for in order to catch trophy bass. From there, I just went back to the old faithful. I can't say it enough. The Seaguar AbrazX. Its general properties, and I don't want to jump around too much, but the general properties of it is I think stealth fluorocarbon isn't supposedly seen as well in the water. Its stretch factor, and then I actually feel like it holds up pretty good against abrasion. I mean, they claim it as AbrazX, but a lot of that stuff I just feel like it's a marketing ploy, but it does. I mean, you feel your line. Sometimes you'll hook a big fish, you'll get in the thing and you feel that line and there's some serious nicks in it. That fish was down there grinding, but that line consistently holds up. So for me, the added cost of it is well worth it. It is the most bang for your buck in the long run, in my opinion. My theories on it is why I don't go above 20-pound test is I just start feeling like you're throwing a rope. I don't think that there's not a bait out there, unless maybe some of your truly giant size, if you're guys that are like out there and you're dealing with muskies or whatever, I understand that. But for bass fishing, I don't see where there is any reason, regardless of bait, to go above 20 pound. And to be transparent, this past season, when I'm fishing my 9.0 Battle Shad or the Baitsmith mags, I'm fishing it on 17 pound, and I'm almost tempted to go to 15 pound. If you're throwing a larger pound test strictly because you're worried about casting off a bait or something like that, then maybe you shouldn't be throwing that bait. The whole concept of swim bait fishing is to get bites. I mean, in my opinion, it's to get bites and get big bites. And ramping up that line size only increases your chance of getting less bites. So I try and get away with as minimum line size as possible. And when we talk about line size, every brand is different. A 20 pound in one brand is not the same line diameter as a 20 pound in a different brand. For example, the Seaguar Tatsu's 20 pound has the equivalent diameter of the AbrazX 17 pound. But that gives me full confidence going, well, I know AbrazX is tough, so I should have no issue throwing soft baits on 17 pound. And so far I haven't had that issue. You get a smidge more stretch in the line, but it has been a non-issue for the most part. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've missed, any other questions that could be answered. It's a pretty straightforward thing. I like Seaguar AbrazX, 20 pound, 17 pound, and occasionally for smaller stuff, 15 pound. But that's my go-to all-around line, even for some topwaters. Now, if I'm going for a straight topwater bait, then I got to get into different lines, and I can't even make a recommendation there because currently everything that's widely available on the market, I think is a subpar line. I sound a little bit negative there, but they just don't meet my expectations. I do throw braid from time to time on different applications, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about line preference for swim baits. There you have it. Fluorocarbon, Seaguar AbrazX, and I have no plans of changing. Let me know if you have any questions. If you'd like to share with others your line preference, go ahead, right down there in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe if you're not already. Head on over to our website, subscribe to our email newsletter if you're not. That's where you get all the information regarding bait drops, other Working Class Zero apparel. And if you want to get notified when we post new videos, make sure you hit that little bell icon so that you get the notifications. Other than that, we appreciate the support, and until next time.